They say the Bible is just an old book full of outdated stories and impractical advice. But what if I told you that within its pages are financial strategies more powerful than any modern business course? While millions desperately search for the secret to financial prosperity, we ignore the fact that the most effective principles were written centuries ago. Today, we live in a world where financial failure doesn't just mean red numbers in a bank account. It means sleepless nights, constant anxiety, and entire families living under the crushing weight of debt. But here's the truth. The Bible doesn't just talk about faith and spirituality. It also speaks about money, business, and financial success. In this video, we're going to uncover 8 powerful secrets revealed in the Bible that have transformed lives, businesses, and families throughout history. And no, these aren't magic formulas or empty promises. They are time-tested principles taught by figures like Solomon, Daniel, and Joseph, combined with modern strategies from books that have revolutionized the business world. But let me warn you, this knowledge isn't for everyone, because this isn't just about making money. It's about understanding the purpose behind every resource God places in your hands. So if you're here looking for a shortcut to becoming a millionaire, this video isn't for you. But if you genuinely want to discover how to prosper according to the Bible, you're in the right place. And I'll make you a promise. Secret number 4 will shift your perspective forever, so stay until the end. Because what you're about to discover might be the turning point you've been waiting for in your financial and spiritual life. The story of Solomon and his financial wisdom is a living testimony of how true wealth begins deep within the heart and mind. When Solomon had the opportunity to ask God for anything, he didn't ask for riches or power. He asked for wisdom. That simple yet powerful request became the foundation of a prosperous and abundant reign. It's fascinating to think that even today, so many people chase magical formulas to get rich, while the real answer is hidden in the Bible and business. There lies the secret to making financial decisions that transcend time. Solomon's financial wisdom wasn't just about accumulating wealth. It was about managing with intelligence and purpose. He understood that every financial decision had to be aligned with eternal values, not just with the desire for success. Unfortunately, many people today look for shortcuts, ignoring the truth that a successful mindset begins with solid principles. True success isn't the result of luck. It's the daily application of teachings that stand the test of time. Isn't it strange how so many people overlook the very principles God revealed thousands of years ago? Solomon knew that without wisdom, wealth could become a curse. And really, how many stories do we know of people who won fortunes overnight but couldn't keep them? The Bible teaches us that true Christian prosperity doesn't come merely from accumulation, but from a deep relationship with God and the purpose He's established for every life. In today's world, where books like Think and Grow Rich are seen as essential reading, we notice something interesting. These modern strategies often borrow ancient principles from biblical financial wisdom. There is no innovation that can surpass divine wisdom. Solomon didn't need financial management courses or business consultants. He had direct access to the inexhaustible source of knowledge, God Himself. And the good news? That same access is available to each of us. Managing resources with wisdom isn't just practical advice. It's a divine command. Every coin, every investment, every decision must reflect clear spiritual principles. Solomon reminds us that it's not enough to make money. We must know how to use it for a greater good. Today, with so many financial distractions around us, going back to the roots of financial success according to the Bible can be the difference between a life of prosperity and a life of constant financial frustration. Many times, the problem isn't a lack of money, it's a lack of wisdom to manage it. The parable of the talents teaches us exactly that. God entrusts resources to each one of us, but it's up to us to multiply them responsibly. Solomon understood this truth very well. He knew that every coin was an opportunity to serve a greater purpose. That's the real secret behind business based on biblical principles. True prosperity is never just material, it's also spiritual. Solomon didn't amass riches for himself, but to build something that would transcend his own existence. That's a powerful reminder for anyone seeking success in business. It's not just about how much you earn, it's about what you build with what you've been given. And that, my friends, is something the Bible teaches masterfully. Vision and purpose are like a map and a compass in the vast ocean of wealthy business. Without them, any route might seem valid, but few lead to the right destination. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 29-18 that where there is no vision, the people perish. Joseph, one of the greatest examples of financial wisdom in the Bible, had a clear vision from a young age, a divine purpose that guided him even through his darkest moments. How many people today are financially lost simply because they lack clarity of purpose? Joseph didn't just dream big. He understood that his dreams came from God. Even during years of slavery and imprisonment, he never lost sight of his divine purpose. In the end, his faithfulness led him to a position of power and abundance. Here's a key lesson. Financial success isn't about luck. It's the result of a success-oriented mindset and a vision that transcends temporary circumstances. This isn't the time to wander blindly. It's time to align every step with a clear purpose. Many entrepreneurs start their projects with excitement, but when the first difficulties arise, they lose direction. Without a firm vision, any obstacle can feel insurmountable. Joseph could have given up at any moment, but his commitment to purpose kept him going. That's what separates biblically based businesses from fleeting financial ventures. When your purpose is divine, every fall becomes an opportunity to rise even stronger. In today's world, authors like Simon Sinek remind us in his book, Start with Why, that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. But let's be clear, this principle was already in the Bible long ago. Joseph didn't just have a why, he knew for whom he was working. When we understand that our businesses are an extension of God's purpose for our lives, every financial decision becomes an act of faith. Vision and purpose aren't just inspiring words for motivational speeches, they're pillars that sustain solid and lasting businesses. Many fail not because of a lack of resources, but because of a lack of direction. A clear vision will help you say no to opportunities that seem good but don't align with your purpose. That's how you build businesses based on biblical principles, where every decision has eternal impact. We must not forget that ultimately, everything we build belongs to God. When we truly understand that, our businesses stop being a personal race for success and become a divine mission. Every client, every contract, every investment becomes an opportunity to reflect God's glory in the business world. That is true Christian prosperity, a financial life aligned with an eternal purpose. The problem isn't dreaming big, it's not acting in accordance with those dreams. Without a plan and consistent action, even the best vision fades away. Joseph didn't just dream, he worked tirelessly. Every step he took brought him closer to his purpose. That same principle is still true today. Your business can be a channel of blessing if it's aligned with a firm vision and purpose. The parable of the talents isn't just an old story. It's an eternal principle of biblical financial wisdom that remains relevant to this day. This parable, Jesus tells the story of a man who, before going on a journey, entrusted talents, money to his servants, each according to their ability. 2 of them invested and multiplied what they were given, while one buried it out of fear. What a powerful lesson. God doesn't just expect us to manage what we have well. He expects us to multiply it. It's not just about preserving resources, it's about making them grow. Stewardship is an act of responsibility and trust. God places resources in our hands, but it's up to us to manage them with wisdom. Many people constantly pray for more financial blessings, but they're not faithful in managing the little they already have. It's impossible to prosper if money slips through your fingers like sand. Businesses founded on biblical principles require a clear focus on effective stewardship and strategic investment. Fear has always been one of the greatest enemies of multiplication. How many times have we buried our talents out of fear of failure? But the Bible is clear. Faith and action are both essential for seeing results. The parable of the talents teaches us that God rewards those who take responsible risks, while those who act out of fear lose even the little they have. It's time to make bold decisions with a success-oriented mindset. In the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, we learn that money should work for us, not the other way around. But this isn't a modern concept. It's a biblical principle. Well managed. Money is a powerful tool for achieving goals and blessing others. But when money becomes a master, it destroys lives. The Bible and business remind us that money is a servant, not a tyrant. Multiplication doesn't always mean big investments or risky moves. Sometimes it begins with small acts of faithfulness. Jesus said, "Whoever is faithful with little will be trusted with much." In other words, if we don't learn to manage $100 properly, we won't be ready to manage $1 million. True prosperity begins with small daily habits of financial stewardship. This is the core of biblical financial success. Every financial decision is a seed. Every investment, every expense, every saving choice has a future impact. Great entrepreneurs understand that it's not just about accumulating, it's about reinvesting and growing what they already have. But beyond financial logic, there's the spiritual factor. God blesses faithfulness. Wise stewardship is not just a skill, it's a manifestation of our faith in action. Finally, multiplication doesn't just happen in finances, it applies to all areas of life. The parable of the talents isn't just about money, it's about abilities, time, and opportunities. Everything God places in our hands is a seed with growth potential. However, the key lies in how we choose to manage it. When we steward with faith and multiply with responsibility, we open the doors to a Christian prosperity that goes far beyond material wealth. As we reach the end of this video, if you need prayer for your finances or business, leave your request in the comments. We will be praying for you, believing that God can bring provision and peace to every area of your life. The greatest success stories in the Bible weren't written by isolated individuals, but by people who understood the power of relationships and strategic partnerships. Moses had Aaron to support him. Paul had Timothy as a disciple. Even Jesus formed an inner circle with his 12 disciples. Success in millionaire businesses is not a solitary path. God uses people to open doors, provide resources, and offer support in critical moments. It's not just about networking, it's about authentic relationships aligned with a divine purpose. The modern world glorifies independence, but the Bible celebrates interdependence. The right alliances can multiply your efforts and take your business to levels you never imagined. However, not all relationships are strategic. Some people only drain your energy and resources, while others build you up and draw you closer to your purpose. The key is to discern who should walk with you on this journey. Biblically based businesses teach us that the quality of your relationships determines the quality of your results. Jesus taught us that love and authentic relationships are the core of a meaningful life. Loving others isn't just a spiritual commandment, it's a powerful business strategy. When Jesus formed his disciples, he didn't just teach them, he built a deep relationship with them. That is networking at its highest level. Every genuine connection has the potential to open doors, create opportunities, and make a lasting impact in the business world. Authors like Dale Carnegie remind us in his book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, that success depends on the quality of our relationships. But again, this isn't new. Jesus already knew this over 2,000 years ago. Love, respect, and authenticity are key, not only to win souls, but also to gain allies on the path to success. Biblical financial strategies include the art of building wise relationships. Strategic relationships aren't built with nice words. They're built with consistent actions. Trust is the glue that holds long-term partnerships together. Without trust, even the best business opportunity can fall apart. Every relationship, every alliance, every partnership in businesses built on biblical principles must be grounded in clear values and a mutual commitment to excellence and transparency. Sadly, many people fail because they try to do everything alone. Self-sufficiency might look like a virtue, but in both the spiritual and financial world, it's often a major obstacle. God designed a system in which we depend on each other to achieve our goals. That's why alliances are more than just a business strategy. They are a practical manifestation of divine design. Every right connection is a blessing waiting to unfold. Ultimately, building strategic relationships requires intentionality. It's not just about meeting people. It's about investing in those relationships with time, resources, and commitment. The doors that God opens through the right people cannot be forced open with money or influence. Divine connections are orchestrated by Him alone. When we understand this, our businesses stop being a constant struggle and become a natural flow of blessings. Now that we understand the importance of strategic relationships, it's time to talk about a principle that transforms lives: excellence and discipline. Write this in the comments. I declare that my success is guided by God's wisdom. This phrase isn't just a declaration of faith, it's a spiritual trigger that activates divine principles in your life. Daniel wasn't just a smart man. He was a living example of discipline and excellence in business. His life was marked by solid habits. He prayed 3 times a day, he watched what he ate, and he worked with excellence in every task assigned to him. If Daniel lived today, he would surely be a global leader, a thought influencer, perhaps even a successful entrepreneur, with a brilliant mind, a healthy body, and meaningful impact on society. There are no shortcuts to excellence. It's a path walked through daily discipline. In a world where mediocrity seems acceptable, Daniel reminds us, excellence is non-negotiable. God honors those who strive and refuse to settle for the bare minimum. If you're building a business, you can't do it carelessly and expect extraordinary results. Christian prosperity is reserved for those who dedicate themselves passionately and faithfully to their responsibilities. It's time to stop making excuses and start working with the same intensity with which you pray. Discipline is not a prison, it's a tool that sets you free. When you establish solid habits, you eliminate chaos from your life and create a clear path toward your goals. Daniel didn't depend on circumstances to decide whether or not he would pray or work with excellence. He already had a system that guided his days. Businesses based on biblical principles cannot be built on improvisation. They require planning, consistency, and a long-term mindset. Author Stephen Covey, in his book The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, mentions that the right habits build long-term success. But this principle isn't new. Daniel was already applying it centuries ago. Every prayer, every healthy meal, every act of excellence were small seeds that eventually led him to reap great results. Discipline is not optional for those who wish to achieve financial success according to the Bible. Many times, the greatest obstacle to excellence isn't external circumstances, but internal lack of commitment. Laziness, apathy, and procrastination are silent enemies that destroy dreams. Enough of sitting on the couch waiting for the miracle to show up on its own. God honors effort, and every small act of discipline is an offering of faith. Biblical financial wisdom reminds us that success is not a one-time event. It is the result of thousands of small decisions made with excellence. Ultimately, excellence and discipline are not just for great leaders, they're for each and every one of us. Maybe your business is small, maybe no one sees you working quietly behind the scenes. But remember, God does see you, and He rewards those who work with integrity and diligence. Daniel didn't seek the approval of men, he sought God's approval. If you do the same, you'll see Christian prosperity flow into every area of your life. Faith alone is not enough. It needs action to become real. Just like Noah built the ark before the rain came, faith always requires a practical step. In business, many people get stuck in the planning phase, waiting for everything to be perfect before starting. But the Bible and business teach us that God honors small beginnings and courageous decisions. You don't need to have everything figured out to take the first step. Sometimes what seems like a small action can spark extraordinary impact. Biblical financial wisdom shows us that God blesses those who combine faith with effort. Noah didn't just believe in God's promise, he worked diligently to build the ark. Can you imagine what his life would have been like if he had just waited for it to rain without lifting a finger? In the same way, in business, it's not enough to dream or have a vision. You must act, even if it's with small steps. That's how businesses based on biblical principles are built. The concept of starting with what you have, without waiting to have it all figured out, is deeply aligned with the book The Lean Startup by Eric Ries. This approach teaches us to take small steps, measure results, and adapt quickly, instead of waiting for the perfect opportunity. Use what you already have and improve along the way. And this doesn't just apply to startups. It perfectly matches biblical financial strategies. Act based on what God has already placed in your hands. Fear of failure often paralyzes entrepreneurs, but faith is not the absence of fear. It's moving forward despite it. Every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to your goals. Christian prosperity is not about instant perfection. It's about constant progress. God honors diligence and consistency more than grand gestures. Every small step you take in faith opens the door to bigger opportunities. Noah worked every single day without seeing immediate results, but his faith kept him going. In the same way, in business, results don't always come right away. You may be planting seeds today that won't bear fruit for months or even years, but every effort counts. The Bible's advice for financial success reminds us that what matters most is not the speed, the direction. Move forward a little more, every day, trusting that God is guiding your steps. Prayer is essential, but it doesn't replace action. Many people ask for financial miracles but then sit around waiting instead of acting. God blesses the hands that work and the hearts that trust. Vision and purpose become real when we combine our prayers with real, tangible effort. Noah taught us that active faith can change the course of our lives. Success doesn't come in giant leaps. It comes through consistent, strategic steps. Whether you're starting a business or trying to revive one that's stuck, remember, every little advance matters. The Bible and business invite us to be patient, persistent, and brave. Don't stop just because the road seems long. God has already prepared the resources and opportunities you need. Move forward with faith and action. In a world saturated with competition, biblical financial wisdom offers a powerful principle. You don't always have to fight for a slice of the same pie. Sometimes God wants to give you an entirely new recipe. The parable of the Good Samaritan is a clear example of this. While others passed by an opportunity disguised as a problem, the Samaritan saw something different, a chance to make a difference. This parable isn't just about compassion, it's about strategic vision to spot opportunities where others only see obstacles. The book Blue Ocean Strategy by W. Chan Kim and Renee Mauborgne presents a revolutionary idea. Instead of competing in saturated markets, red oceans, it's better to create your own space where competition becomes irrelevant, blue oceans. But this idea isn't new. The Bible had already taught us that God is an expert at making a way where there is none. Businesses based on biblical principles don't follow the world's rules, they follow the rules of the kingdom. Sometimes what looks like a crisis is actually a disguised opportunity. The Good Samaritan didn't own a business, but he understood something fundamental. Opportunities exist where there are unmet needs. Many entrepreneurs miss their blessings because they only see problems, while God has hidden opportunities inside them. Christian prosperity doesn't always follow an obvious path. It often requires courage to walk in a direction no one else is willing to take. It's easy to copy what others are doing, but the true pioneers are those who listen to God's voice and act in faith. When God told Moses to touch the sea with his staff, no one had ever seen an ocean divide before. In the same way, in your business, God may be asking you to do something no one else has done. The Bible's financial advice isn't just about making money, it's about discovering the unique path God has prepared for you. The problem with many entrepreneurs is that they're too busy looking sideways, comparing themselves to others, instead of looking upward and listening to God's direction. A blue ocean is never found by following someone else's map. It's found by following the Creator's voice. Divine strategy always goes beyond human logic. If God has given you an idea, a project, or a business, stop doubting and start building. In the business world, the greatest opportunities often come disguised as hard work and risk. Financial success, according to the Bible, isn't always in the most obvious place. Sometimes you'll need to step out of your comfort zone and walk by faith through unfamiliar waters. But one thing is certain. When God is steering the ship, the ocean is never an obstacle. It becomes the path to your purpose. And finally, remember this. God didn't call you to be a copy. He called you to be original. The blue ocean He has prepared for you isn't where everyone else is fishing. It's in that unique space only you can discover with His guidance. Millionaire businesses aren't for imitators. They're for innovators who walk in faith, purpose, and wisdom. Just as the Good Samaritan turned a painful situation into a chance to bless someone, God can use your business to transform lives in ways no one else has imagined. The true measure of success isn't just what you build, it's what you leave behind. Solomon didn't just accumulate riches, he left behind a legacy of wisdom and prosperity that went far beyond his generation. Biblical financial wisdom teaches us that truly successful businesses don't just generate profit, they leave a lasting impact on people's lives and on the world around us. What good is a full bank account if your life is empty of purpose? Legacy isn't built in a moment. It's built through small daily actions. Every financial decision you make, every relationship you build, every act of generosity you practice leaves a mark. Businesses built on biblical principles don't just aim for personal prosperity. They aim to create something that will benefit others long term. God doesn't bless us just for ourselves. He blesses us so that we can be a blessing to others. In today's world, the most admired entrepreneurs are those who leave a lasting impact. In the book Built to Last by Jim Collins, we learn that the most successful organizations are those built with a long-term vision, thinking in terms of future generations. But again, this isn't new. Solomon already knew that true wealth isn't just material, it's also spiritual and relational. Legacy isn't always money. It can be an idea, a tradition, a teaching, even a relationship that changes someone's life. Jesus himself left a legacy that's impacted the world for over 2,000 years. The principles he taught didn't just change his disciples, they continue to transform lives today. Have you stopped to think? What legacy will you leave through your business? Christian, prosperity isn't just about accumulating wealth, it's about multiplying with eternal purpose. Every small act counts. Every decision made with integrity and intention leaves a mark. Sometimes legacy isn't immediately visible, but with time, its fruit becomes undeniable. When you work with the intention of leaving a positive impact, your business stops being just a source of income. It becomes a tool to transform lives. That is the essence of biblical financial wisdom. Solomon built a temple, a tangible symbol of his relationship with God and his commitment to his people. But beyond the stones and gold, he left behind words of wisdom that have guided generations. In the same way, every Christian entrepreneur has the opportunity to build something that transcends their own life. It's not just about how much you earn, it's about how you use what God has placed in your hands. So remember, legacy is not left to chance. It's built intentionally day by day. With every decision, you're writing a story. Let that story be one of faithfulness, generosity, and purpose. The most powerful businesses aren't the ones that die with their founder. They're the ones that keep changing lives long after they're gone. Each one of the secrets we explored today is not just financial advice. They are eternal pillars that continue transforming lives. From Solomon's wisdom to Daniel's discipline to the faith of Noah and Joseph. Each principle holds the power to revolutionize how you see business. But none of this works if you don't apply it. Knowledge without action is like a seed left in a drawer. It doesn't grow, it doesn't bloom, it doesn't multiply. Apply these principles with faith, with discipline, and with a clear vision and purpose. God has placed resources and talents in your hands, and it's up to you to manage them with wisdom. Now I'd love to hear from you. What is the principle from this message that spoke most to your heart? How are you going to apply it in your business or daily life? Share your thoughts in the comments. We read each one and pray for your journey. And if you feel led, write this declaration again below. I declare that my success is guided by God's wisdom. Let it be your starting point, your act of faith. Because sometimes all it takes is one step forward. May God bless you and prosper you in all areas of your life.